Oh.
Hey, potheads and political junkies. I'm not Jeremiah Vandermeer, and that's Opus.
And I am Opus, but yes, and he's not Jeremiah. Jeremiah is on his way.
That's what he says. So we'll see how long it's going to take him to get here.
But in the meantime,
in the meantime, we'll just carry along like he's not even here.
Yeah, we don't really need Jeremiah, actually. At least not right now.
Not at this moment.
Not at this very moment. We do need him, but not at the moment. We can manage. We can do this. We're professionals.
It's the pre-Canada Day show. I'm not actually sure what the title says. But
Welcome to a long weekend. It's Cannabis Day long weekend, and yeah, this is Friday. We're starting a long weekend. Ooh, yeah.
City's going to be packed. If you're going on the ferry anywhere, don't.
Yeah, no. Well, have a reservation or do the walk-on.
I heard they just canceled a whole ferry, like yesterday or the day before, like one of the big ones there.
Was there no?
They're like, oh, it's not working. They took it off, so then they lost all these reservations.
No.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It's going to be a clusterfuck
Shit
and a
show.
half. Yeah, but you know what? That's the problem. And it's not just BC ferries here, but the roads, like the highways, one issue, everything just grinds to a halt.
Yeah, they don't really have a way out, eh? They just planned it as like, okay, one.
Well, it's not just that. We're also maxed out. We're over capacity. Right? There's too many people for the amount of space. And
like trying to cross that Lionsgate Bridge. I've been here for 10 years, and I think like it's only gotten worse than 10 years. But like even 10 years ago, it wasn't any better. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to crossing at 4 o'clock. No.
I actually... Sometimes I'm at home and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta, do this, or I gotta run here, and I'll be like, oh wait, and I'll look at the time. It'd be like 5 o'clock or 4:30. I'll be like, never mind, I'm not going anywhere right now. Change of plans. That's all. Simple, but no big deal. So I hope everybody's got their Cannabis Day stash and is prepped up for the big.
I'm prepped up. I got this, that, the other.
You're always prepped. And the big festivities are coming this weekend.
Right there's a sign over our face.
Oh, look at that. And you can see us through the sign in the background. Ooh, look at that, eh? That's cool. Well, yeah, I like that.
VSB's up on there again. I like to see that. It's good. It's gone now, but...
Yeah. The VSB, Vancouver Seed Bank.
Get your seeds online, everyone, before
That's
it's too late. Right now, it's like the time. In Ontario, it's still too cold, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Get them out.
And... also, don't forget seed bombs. If you can get your hands on some, some hemp seed or some bag seed you're not too worried about, make seed bombs. They're easy to do. All you need is a little bit of, preferably red clay, some good compost, and some seeds. That's it. Just
Done.
make a
little sphagnum moss in there for
that's part of your compost, right? A little bit. Just put it in there. Some nice broken down, humus. And then just make a ball with the clay, flatten it out, push your thumb in it, make a depression, put the compost and your seeds in that, just roll it back up, let them dry.
And then take them and truck them places that people can't get to, and then they'll just grow weed.
Wild weed.
Or hemp, whatever. Either way, it's going to be good. I keep looking at this big picture over here. There's a massive picture that's like 5
It used to be up there.
5 by something. I don't know.
It's the size of a pool table.
Yeah.
It's basically the size of a. It's like it's a 4x6.
I'm looking to scoop it, but I think it's part of high score.
I got a feeling that's a Foster.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Foster. Ken Foster, local artist, really good one.
Has a documentary about him and a book.
And he just has a book out. Yeah, that's right. I think I have about 8 Fosters.
Me too, I think. I don't know. I have some that go back to like 07 and stuff like that. When I look at the dates on them, I'm like, oh, that's fucking old.
Yeah.
About watering seed bombs.
Let the rain do it more or less. Like it's kind of that.
That's the concept. It's the idea of seed bombs is to throw them into places like where you can't get to.
Down in like the SkyTrain route,
Yeah, places that are fenced off, like government property and stuff, like
the jail, not the jail.
But you want to try to find a spot that's kind of got some like wet land in it. You don't want to put them out in dry fields. Like try to find like a ditch area where those, probably going to be some more groundwater. But you do that right before the big rains come in the spring. You throw your seed bombs out there. And the rains will just take care of it.
Yeah, get you started. And then once it's started, it'll look for water and it'll be good.
That's why selection of spots, like try to, you might say, oh, that field would be great. But if it's just a dry old field that has no water, it's not worth throwing them in there. You need to find a nice sort of ditch area along the side of a road. Or,
Crevasse, I like to call it.
a place where water might have run at one time, because there's probably still water if just below the surface, right? That's the water table. So once the plants get started, they'll go find that.
Creek shore or pond shore, wherever.
The shorelines of the river shorelines, stuff like that are excellent spots.
Pond.
Yeah. Those are great spots.
Just gonna make sure my parking's paid for here. Vancouver, they fucking
I got a treat.
A treat.
I got some videos. Neil loaded up to watch.
Preload.
Let's cue one of them right now.
You want to let's watch the trailer. The trailer will give you sort of an idea what's
Dun
coming.
dun dun. Hope it's not played on a trailer.
Just want to say hey to Two Joints in the chat there. You notice I'm wearing my name tag today on the shirt. I'm baked.
Baked. El Baked-O.
It doesn't come off. It's a permanent name tag.
So what's this show going to be on, and when?
Well, it's just I'm busy just making up these. Hey Neil, how you doing? Neil Magnuson just walked in. I just started doing shorts.
Half an hour, 45 minutes or something.
All right.
He's going to come and tell us about stuff.
Well, Cannabis Day stuff.
Cannabis Day stuff. We also got some footage at City Council.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Oh yeah, there was a whole bunch of craziness over there yesterday.
We should watch that.
You know what? We'll do it, but
Well, we should wait for
But
those guys
first-
to get in and. Oh, but what first? Okay, hang
we
on.
can run that if you want. Let's.
It don't matter. I don't mess around with videos. Let's get them all out there.
Neil Magnuson, founder, director of Cannabis Substitution Project. Mr. Magnuson? No, sorry, we have a process, so not just you, rules are the same for everyone.
Well, sometimes you got to cross lines, right?
And as you've heard, 3 minutes, timer to your right, and I will start your timer now.
Yeah, I need 5, by the way.
Oh,
Thank you for having this discussion and allowing me to speak to you. My name is Neil Magnuson. I'm the longtime rights activist, born and raised in Vancouver. And for the past 2+ years, I've been the director of the Cannabis Substitution Project operating out of Vandu. In case you don't know, the CSP, we give out care packages containing 4 to 6 high-dose cannabis edibles along with a couple of joints to over 250 people twice a week. This represents a real safe supply. I showed you before. As a way out of addiction to opioids and other street drugs, despite what Dr. Daly says, and we are a private and a public health initiative. We are a public health initiative. In the population of people we are helping, there are over 100 people who are now clean from the problematic drugs they were using and now only use cannabis. That's what they report to us. I personally know many dozens of former addicts that say cannabis saved their lives. And in fact, there's thousands of people across the country who share this experience. Our project should be evaluated. There are numerous studies of late that confirm the effectiveness of cannabis, especially in the form of concentrates and high-dose edibles, both for pain and for replacing opioids and other dangerous street drugs, including the study by M.J. Malloy, who worked with us on our project, interviewed many of our people, and I know that's what they told him. There's so much evidence that it works, oh my God. I presented numerous studies to Van Du when I first pitched this project. I'm not sure how many lives need to be saved by replacing opioids and other street drugs with cannabis before there's an action to make sure it's available for people as an option. The hypocrisy is outrageous. Alcohol kills and maims a similar number of people, yet there's little talk of that, and there's literally thousands of recreational alcohol dispensaries in Vancouver. Big Pharma also kills thousands of people, yet there's drugstores on every major street in the city. The prohibitions and restrictions on cannabis accessibility are outrageous, and in comparison, and the lack of access is definitely resulting in death. The whole history of prohibiting cannabis is full of lies and corruption about cannabis. The actual truth is that it's an amazingly beneficial and benign gift of nature. DEA Judge Francis Young declared that cannabis is one of the safest therapeutically active compounds known to man. The time is now for our public servants, you, to stop stigmatizing cannabis users, stop the reefer madness and the harm being done by prohibition, and embrace the benefits of life-saving properties of cannabis. It's been long overdue for decades. Storefront medical dispensaries that provide high-dose cannabis edibles and concentrates need to be allowed and supported. Bad laws are killing people, so bad laws be damned. When laws fail to prevent harm and instead cause harm, they are of no force and effect. Good people break bad laws to protect vulnerable people, and that's what the CSP is doing. This city and this council has an opportunity and a duty to lead the way in righting these wrongs and save lives. So
And
far,
that's your
our project
time?
has been ignored.
Councillor Carr has questions for you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Magnuson?
Hi.
Hi. So thanks for coming in. And I have several questions about your particular project. But one I want to start with is the statement you made at the beginning, our project should be evaluated. What did you mean by that? Like a scientific
Well, coastal
research
health has
project?
never been there, for example.
Huh, okay.
You people have never been there, for example. I dare you to come down on a Sunday or a Thursday at noon to Van Du and see the hundreds of people that are so thankful to get what they're getting and thank us every time for saving their lives. It'll bring tears to your eyes and you will immediately make motions to do something to help us serve this population. We're still not meeting the demand.
Okay, so you said that you did have, MJ Malloy did do some
We're part of the study
research.
that he did, yes.
Okay, but other than that, there's been no approach around doing research on the effect of your...
Nope, the speaker that asked to speak that was denied is here to build those groups that are helping on the downtown east side with the overdose crisis, and he is going to do some more empirical information gathering on our project. We have our own internal studies that we're doing and information that we gather, and we have our own media that does things as well. We've had a little bit of coverage. I was in the Georgia Strait just recently, and the Courier did a story on our project a year and a half ago. We've been 28 months. We haven't had Global down there. We haven't had CKNW down there or CTV, and it's outrageous. I mean, we're giving out well over 1,000 high-dose edibles twice a week into the downtown east side. For Dr. Daly to say that there's no shred of evidence that it helps, well, she hasn't been there to see what we're doing. She should come and talk to the people down there and see what we're doing, because there's lots of evidence that cannabis is saving lives.
Okay, so in terms of evidence, I know that this is anecdotal because it hasn't been, you're not doing a scientific research based methodology on this, but you have seen a lot of people. So in your experience, are there any cases where you have seen very negative health outcomes amongst individuals, as some of the earlier presenters on this subject noted?
I've seen none of that. I mean, there is some concern that perhaps the sativa strains can aggravate some types of psychosis, and so I've stayed away from ordering sativa-based edibles to hand out to people, although we do have some. I've had zero reports of any of that. In fact, cannabis helps people with their anxiety and their depression in many cases, but I certainly concur with what Sarah and Dana had to say, that for some people it does cause anxiety, they don't like the effects, and they just don't use it. What we have had is a number of, I think everybody in our project has eaten too much. We give out care packs that look like that, and there's probably about 450, maybe 500 milligrams of cannabis within that one care pack. We caution everybody to start low and go slow. It was about 3 or 4 months in when I was presenting to Van Du's board about our project, and I said, I think we've had less than all the fingers on one hand of people that have eaten too much. And there's like 13 board members, and 12 of their hands went up, and they all had stories about how they, couldn't get out of bed for 2 days, or they hung on to a pole all night. And it's not very comfortable for people to eat too much, but they're a bit shy to admit it, and they don't usually do that again. And many of them, most of them, keep using cannabis to just find the right dose.
Thank you. 3 minutes. It's a pilot project, but we'll find out at the end how it's working. So thank you
Yeah,
very
there's a
much.
lot more that I could say, I'll tell you. I think
Well,
it's unconscionable to send
please
people back to
do
the black
fill out our
market, for example.
satisfaction survey online about the pilot process. I'm urging everyone to do that.
All right.
But I really do
Sausage and pepperoni.
Whoa.
Whoa here. We're back now.
Hey.
We've seen all that footage about Neil giving it to her. Good style.
God, I hate
He'll
that woman.
reiterate that when he comes on the show later if we let him on.
Yep.
What happened? But yeah, they all got unanimous vote, which is kind of weird. Even though the city's like, no dispensaries in the downtown east side, then they're like, well, I guess it's really helping, and we need to like sort this out.
But they're just, voted to explore it.
Yeah,
Which is just,
It could
all
just
of
be like
that
that.
to just say, oh, let's waste more time. That's rather than actually say, well, O'Neill, while we were
1 minute
talking,
warning.
I like what O'Neill said while we were chatting here, while it was playing, and he goes, why not just try everything and see what works best?
Yeah, Dana's shop was open for 10 years.
I
Yeah.
know.
Shut it, and then like maybe we need more.
Yeah.
Why just shut that one?
Well, because we might need more, but we need ours, not yours. This is the whole thing with this whole
that makes sense.
legalization thing. I mean, all legalization.
Preemptively lighting.
Yeah. What? Here we go. I guess my watch is wrong. I got 2:00.
Yeah, that's wrong. It's like damn near 4:20.
No, I'm just kidding. I've got 4:18.
I got 4:19
Oh,
and
I'm not, I thought I was way wrong. I'm not that wrong.
4:19 on the TV and 4:20 on my phone. Ba 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 ba
But
ba.
before 20, the weekend starts now. It's Cannabis Day.
Boop boop boop.
Smoke bomb. the
Smoking
camera.
that red hair with the white widow.
Maui Wowie Mugu Tai Pie Pot.
Make that Canada flag styles, eh? Red hair and the white widow.
Whoa,
Rhino.
tricky guy.
What's the deal with the hairs?
Their hairs.
That's the pistols that have died or are
Yeah,
degrading.
no. Well, some of them are redder than others.
Because, well, that's a strain thing. But as they start to get red or brown or whatever, it's because they're drying out and dying. When they're white and they're out there, that's in their prime. They're looking for
Pollen.
male pollen. They want to get laid.
Putting it out there, like
They want to make a baby. They want to put that seed there in that pod and give her.
I don't even have a good
Bud
saying
porn.
for that.
That's just bud porn.
Like a small town person.
Oh god.
Everything's politically correct these days, so you gotta watch what you say. You ain't gonna say what I was gonna say.
Don't say that.
I'm not.
Oh god.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, we're high. Wild Dragon, he is very high. It's because,
We're smoking this Bong Guru Rockstar, made famous by, by the breeders also, but Remo did good with it at the Cannabis Cup one year.
what is it?
The Bong Guru Rockstar.
Oh.
And I might be totally wrong on that, but for some reason I think that's what went down.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, so that's good. Cannabis Day, if you guys are in town, come down to Thornton Park. Bring your bong for one thing. Bring your weed.
You don't need to bring weed. Bring money and buy weed. There'll
Or-
be lots
lots of weed there.
legacy market people there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last year the year before last, I had to laugh. I was walking around. This was at Thornton Park,
I think I'm gonna buy marijuana plants this year.
Yeah. I got down to the far end, like as far down from people were sort of the end of the vendors away from the stage towards Chinatown. And the last vendor was this little old Asian woman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And she didn't speak English.
She was great, yeah.
And she had a suitcase full of weed, had it open on a little table.
Oh, the park bench lady, yeah, she's always there.
It was just point, and she just had some signs like
Yeah.
somebody, I guess, had written out for her, like
English
prices in English
and in
in
Korean or
whatever
I don't know,
language there
other
was.
language characters.
Yeah, Asian, language characters. But it was so you just pointed and then pointed to the bag that you wanted, like $20, pointed to that, and she was like just rocking it there. I thought, I was impressed. I was just like.
Yeah, I got a bag of watermelon.
I want to ask her. So I need someone to ask her. Ask her if she knows where to get some good opium. That was after the fact. I thought like a couple days later, I was like, fuck,
She's
I
selling
should've-
weed.
I
She probably
should've-
has the ope too.
She probably has the connection. I'm sure she knows where.
She's
I
just
guarantee
like,
you.
she's like
She's out there
Selma reaches
selling a
into
bunch
like
of
her
big.
cloak or something. She'll just pull it out of some random pocket that's in
Oh,
there. And
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
I got this.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
He does it with hash all the time, but I was like, I was like, Red Leb, I haven't seen that in a while. He's like, oh, I think I got some right here, and he literally like reaches into like his robe,
Some
and he
fold
pulls
in
out
his robe.
like a chunk. He's like,
man.
oh, this is Red Leb right here. I'm just like, where was that?
What?
Speaking of opium, protested David Eby's office. We have footage of it.
Were
Oh
we smoking opium
no, but we had
in his
the,
office? Because we wouldn't want to smoke marijuana in there. That would be in
Closed his
trouble.
office.
He closed it again
I know this.
3 times, or that was the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. They all seem to be going.
All right, let's watch that.
Well, we're outside the Justice Minister's office, David Eby, to complain about the overregulation and restriction on cannabis, especially cannabis edibles, but not just cannabis. It's about a safe supply of all the drugs that people are using. Without prohibition, there wouldn't be an overdose crisis if people could go to their healthcare professional and get what they demand, and as adults, people should be able to get what they demand, then we wouldn't have street dealers killing people with tainted drug supply.
Watering my plants. Gonna go for spins.
It was my task to deliver health care to people in the downtown east side, and it didn't take me long to see that without decriminalization, without a safe supply of drugs to people who are dealing with addiction, that there was no way to provide health care to people. So that is why I'm here today.
Because we are sick and tired of seeing everybody we know die. We are sick and tired of seeing people die from contaminated drugs when alternatives could be provided. And we are sick of the inaction at the provincial level. If it was any other product and any other group facing this issue, it would be dealt with as a health issue, and it would happen very quickly. But with drug users, with opiate users or other drug users, the focus is not on public health. It's not on saving lives. It's not on stopping overdoses. And David Eby knows this. If you talk to him, he will say, of course, prohibition is the root problem. Of course, the war on drugs is a big deal, and it's really what's driving all of this. And you say, well, will you stand up for this as the Attorney General? Well, I don't know about that. Will you push for this? Will you fight for this? Will you do what our health officials say? Will you do what you used to say when you ran in the BC Civil Liberties Association? And he is silent. They are all shamefully silent.
machine going and
It was
it's portable.
It was like a little bracelet almost.
Little bracelet, probably
Little
thing like
bracelet bubble
Spidey.
machine,
She's
yeah.
like bubbles, bubbles, double bobble. Fucking
But it's ever since we started occupying member of parliament MP's offices way back when in 2005 was it or something?
Free Mark.
That was back when Mark
Occupy.
Emery was getting transferred to the States, so we started trying. Yeah, the Free Mark protest. Well, yeah, Cookie's telling me about one of our associates when they went to Stephen Harper's office. He was rolling joints on Harper's desk.
Yeah, had a medical license, so he's like, yeah, it's his
Yeah.
right to do it.
Yeah,
I think they
and-
did a couple other ones too, but that was like the one that was famous.
Well, because they kept trying
Stephen
to
wasn't even there, but
No.
still.
But they tried to kick us out, so they called cops, and this was across Canada. These were going on all over.
Yeah, Jody was there.
And actually, what it turned out is the cops couldn't do a whole lot because those offices are public property. They belong to you and me, Canadian citizens.
Just so feel free, go hang out in them.
They're paid for with our tax. They're paid for
During
with our
office
tax dollars. So
If
we
the
went
office is
to
open, I guess.
we went to James Lunny's office. He's an ex-MP. He's retired now, conservative. And we got inside there,
conservative.
and we refused to leave. So we all sat down on
Sit
the
down.
chairs. So the cops came and said, "Oh, you can't be here," and all this.
I
And
remember
we
that
said,
one,
"No,
yeah.
no, we're staying." And then they said, "Well, you can't stay here when they close." And we just went, "Well, we have no intention of staying here when they close. We're just here during office hours." So they went in the back room and had a little meeting with the cops, came out and said, "Okay, we're closing the office." This was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, so rather than help your constituents and stay open, you're afraid of like couple of medical users and a couple of old ladies that were with us.
True. Yeah.
And that's the tactic now. Once they realize you're coming for a protest at the office, they close.
They're like, well, we have a protest alert Wednesday at 9, and they're probably like, once a week, just a relative calls it in
If people
too.
show up and start protesting, I think that's becoming their MO, their method of operation. As soon as they see a bunch of people with placards out in front of the office, they close it. No, I think that's gonna be that's what it is. So
It's
you
like
have to
it's
do
like a
sneak
button
attack.
lock. They're like, shit, a protest sign. Click, it's locked up.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not a protest. It's,
No, it's just an
a
advertising.
parade.
It's
a
advertising.
parade. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Open up again.
Sign says it.
Do my job.
No, it's just the Subway guy selling sandwiches. But no, so you really have to do the sneak attack.
They got like post-traumatic
you
stress at
You
those
can't be on
times.
Facebook and talking about it. You got to talk, because all
Like
these
with smoke.
social media is monitored. So you just have to get together with your friends and say, okay, we're gonna go protest here.
Call them on a landline
Get
and
them
say,
on the phone.
hey.
Don't text them. Oh, you could call them on a cell phone, but just talk to them. Don't text them. And
Nitrous?
call people
No.
and literally say, we're going to go down here.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just, when you show up, everybody kind of show up, but stay around the corner. And then wait till you're all together, then all go in the room at once. That's how it's done. Hey, look, Cannabis Day balloons. Woo, woo, whoa, hey.
It's fucking bouncy. Get my bounce on in here.
Balloons are all, next best thing to bubbles.
I'm gonna grab Jerry. One of them has pot smoke in it.
Okay, when they find one with nitrous oxide in it and bring it back, I'd like that one.
Yeah, it would make us talk funny.
While we're waiting, why don't we show one of my other videos?
How many videos did you pack in?
No, that was just the trailer we saw. Now you can see the
the main deal.
That was the trailer. Yeah. Now
Dun
we get to
dun
see-
dun.
We get to see it. Vancouver spots to smoke pot.
Hey, we're down here at Crab Park in the Vancouver Harbor, right beside the cruise ship terminal and the docks. Let's smoke some pot. Seeing as it's kind of windy here at Crab Park, I'm gonna duck down behind this little sculpture and light this bowl. Spots to smoke pot.
Fuck, I dropped my doob down there into the fucking bowels, putting it out.
Into the lungs
Yeah.
of the operation.
I think there's even hair on my fingers now. That's okay.
So that was Crab Park.
Crab Park.
Crab Park. Crab Park is at the bottom of Main Street. Yes.
Made famous in Jody's story on Greg's show about trying to plant a marijuana plant there.
In Crab Park?
Yeah, said it was too dry everywhere. And it's true, there's not really any, like, it's sandy beach, but there's not really, there's plants, but they're not in soil per se.
No, it's just reclaimed land pretty much with some scrub in there. It's,
Yeah.
not real good. And there's people everywhere. It's not going to last.
The peeps.
I just don't have a bong. Do either of you smoke? You smoke bong?
No.
No?
Only hash out of a bong.
We should
Hash
still
from
bring
the
bongs
bong.
so Jared can take bong or something.
He should.
I was like, what's missing on this?
I was just going to say, Jared can bring his own bong.
Where is Jerry? He's supposed to be here by now.
He is, he's dealing with some of the guys at high score.
Okay.
According to Alyssa about 20 minutes ago, so he should be here not too long.
Whatever, we don't care. We're just bugging.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
We
joking.
miss his.
I'm just joking.
We miss his sorry ass.
Oh, yeah, but we are have the timer clicker on, so.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
That's right. Remember, we started the show. So we'll see how long.
Smoking, ecos,
Smoking.
101 quarters, and then we got the weed right there. Bud cam right here. Look.
What?
That's the Bong Guru Rockstar.
It's Tasty Pot.
Made famous by Remo.
So it's like a Rockstar Cross, or is it just...
It's a Rockstar from another company. Like, I forget the name of the company, the seed company that bred it or whatever, but it was just like, it was called like Bong Guru Rockstar. And it might have been Bong Guru Seeds, and it might have been their Rockstar. I think that's how it goes. But if it doesn't, don't quote me on it. I'm unquotable. But yeah, I got some ground up like that so quick, like the action of TV magic. I love it when shit like that happens. You know, you open the oven, cake baked. You're just like, boom.
You know what I like is when they have two ovens, they can put a cake in one oven, open up the other oven, and it's magically, it gets transported and cooked at the same time to the second oven.
Sometimes iced too. They pull it out iced. I'm like, you can't ice a cake in the oven, guys. Like, come on.
I want one of those ovens.
Happy birthday written on it already. You're like, oh.
The right amount of candles.
Yeah.
What? How did that come out of the oven?
Well, this could be Jeremiah's birthday show too, because it's Jeremiah's birthday on the 1st.
That's right. Monday is Jeremiah's birthday. His birthday is canceled.
So blow up all his shit with happy birthday and that happy birthday videos.
Yeah.
He's taking auditions for the best happy birthday video.
Do you think we should, like, at Cannabis Day, should we, like, come up behind him with, like, a bucket of water and soak him like a coach and when winning a big game?
I've got to say,
We could put dumped weed over him.
July
Marley, everyone.
1st gets pretty warm.
It can be hot.
It can be hot, and he does so much running around that I got to say that if somebody were to do like an ice bucket challenge style thing to him on Cannabis Day, he would probably be like, "Thank you, this
I don't know
feels
about
great."
Ice. Not ice, but,
Not
you know,
ice, but
yeah, just
ice
just
cold
some
water.
Yeah,
He would
cool
love it.
water, some
He would
cool
probably
water.
love it.
Yeah, probably.
We
would.
might have some things planned for him.
It might look. It would probably look good.
It probably would.
I mean, he'd go, all right, it's going to be a good video, so I'll just have to go with it, right?
Better than a bucket of dry weed.
That's true.
Yeah, somebody wanted to do that to me at one of my shows at Vapor Central, and I was like, no. I thought that was just a big waste of weed.
Yeah.
Even if it's shake, it don't matter, you know. Like,
But still,
You
you're
can still
just
use it for
dumping
edibles
out.
and
It's
shit.
just, yeah, it just seems that's dump. That just
See,
seems
if
like-
somebody wants to take like a 7-gram dab, that's their business. As long as
Jolioli,
it's still
custom
actually
grow
being
420.
consumed and not wasted, you know what I mean?
takes it hot.
I
hot
just
and herdy.
I just found the video recently again and watched it. It's a few years old of Asia, myself, and some of the other happy cats when we hotboxed my apartment with a 63-gram chunk of butter.
That's awesome.
Have you seen that one? Yeah, it got to the point you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was so thick in my apartment.
Smoky.
It was actually everybody's getting headaches because of just a lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
You have to drink a lot of water when you do those.
It's not
Yeah.
just that, but you know what I thought next time I do something like that, there's got to be a fresh oxygen somewhere.
That's a good idea.
Even if it's just like a mask with a hose that's going out the window to outside, so you could like take it and just get a couple breaths of some clean air to get, just so you don't get a headache.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then anybody who feels just could grab it and just take a couple breaths of air, and you know what? Then I think you would enjoy the hot box a lot more.
Well, the Legends of Hash dinners in Amsterdam, they used to be like that. They used to be like no windows open, no tobacco, mind you, but just like pure
still,
hash.
Oh yeah, I get it. It's still just weed or whatever.
But it would be like a lot of hash,
It's
and
so much.
so I think it was like one of the last years.
Crack a window?
Yeah, Dawn from DNA Genetics cracked the window, but like there was like tapestries over the window, so it was just like a little secret air tunnel, and then we just kind of like waft some air in once in a while. Because I was like, I don't know, as we get older, I guess it's too much. You know, you don't want to sit there and be like.
Well, it's not just that.
And we're all lining up to smoke out of this big hookah that's fucking filled up with the hash, causing all the smoke. So you kind of want that breath of fresh air after hitting the hookah.
But I mean, if you
or the hubbly bubbly, I guess it was
more smoke than oxygen in the room, it's going to affect you, and that headache is the first sign of oxygen depletion.
Yeah.
So it's to enjoy it better. So I always thought the greatest thing would be if you had just not oxygen, but an air tank with a hose and a mask,
like oxygen,
and you could just compressed air, like
nitrous,
like nitrous, but also air tanks, like a scuba tank.
Oh yeah, like oxygen.
It's just air. It's not oxygen. It's air. It's a difference. Not liquid oxygen, like not from the hospital. Compressed air.
Super high underwater.
Well, because the oxygen is flammable. You'd blow your fucking self up. So you have to use compressed air. There's a difference.
Oh yes, okay.
Right.
Not like oxygen at the hospital.
Yeah, not like liquid oxygen, like from the hospital. No, that's different. That's pure oxygen.
Or from our glass floor buddies.
Yeah, not that stuff. No, you just want compressed air from like the scuba tank air. But again, with a max, you could just go and get that hit. You could sit in that hot box all day. That'd be fucking large. You could just get really blazed.
You could pump it through your nose and just like the oxygen bar style.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get a hit. You'll enjoy the box. So.
Yeah, I went and did the oxygen bar. It was pretty cool. Inhaling some oxygen.
I got a gift certificate to go for a float.
Well, that's what you should do.
Yeah, no, people keep telling me that. Jade Ridge, she went for one. She says, oh, yeah, she's addicted.
Oh, yeah, I float all the time.
Do you?
Well, not all the time, actually, but yeah, I have one a lot. The first time I went was in Amsterdam with Big Jeff.
Yeah.
Skunk Funk.
Yeah.
We went to like the fancy one. There was like a big egg pod, and it was totally cool. Then when I went here in Vancouver, it was more like just different. Had like kind of a trap door thing, and you crawled into it. So it was a little more sketchy, but still good. Good float.
Trap door thing.
Yeah. Like some of them are a big pod that the whole thing opens up.
Yeah.
And then some of them, like you actually kind of crawl into like a sensory deprivation tank, pretty much. Both were good. I liked the pod one better. It was just kind of bigger. I don't know, and it had like air in there. You could blow air on your face.
Why not?
Yeah, because it's right at your body temperature or whatever. They keep it at 78 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like, even if you have like your body sticking out, it's no difference.
It's
just don't rub your eyes or anything like that.
Or something they call it or whatever.
Oh yeah, you float. It's fucking weird. It's good for all your muscles though, because they literally like. There's nothing in the world that makes you just kind of relax your muscles. And once you can like relax your neck and shit, then it's like I always end up holding my neck for a while at the beginning and then finally like letting it go. And then finally it goes because your neck's always tight, like no matter what you're doing. And you can't really like understand how to let it relax unless you like are sleeping on a pillow.
I know, because if you let it relax, it's going to like go, they're going to fall.
Yeah, and then in that situation, you don't, so it's nice.
You realize, hey, I can just relax, and it's still, you've got support.
And you can crack your back pretty good, too, if you do that sort of thing. You just kind of let it go, and then it's like, you're like, oh, shit, that was good.
Got more city council footage. This is Dana.
D. Larson's picking up.
D. Larson.
His rap name, Dank Arson.
The man Dana himself, Dana Larson, speaking up at which? Oh,
City
Council. Council.
Giving it to him about opioids.
Mr. Larson, you've been here before?
I have.
timer to the right, and I will reset the timer here, and I'll start your timer now.
All right, well, thanks for having me here to talk about this issue. I think it's very important. I'll note that I'm not wearing this shirt for this meeting. I was at a protest earlier, and that's why I'm not wearing my normal suit and tie. I support this motion, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of success because trying to work within the federal government system to provide accessible, affordable cannabis is not going to be successful. The federal system is not designed to allow cannabis to be provided in an affordable way or to be provided at a lower cost. And medical cannabis is specifically not allowed to be sold at any of these legal shops. And I've heard the word dispensary used to describe the legal shops, but they are not dispensaries. They cannot use that term to describe themselves. They cannot talk about medical cannabis to people, and they cannot provide cannabis for medical purposes. They are forbidden from doing so. And it was said earlier that it's easy to access medical cannabis, but it's actually very, very difficult. You've got to go to a doctor. Doctors will charge you hundreds of dollars to get this because it's not a prescription, it's a recommendation. And because of that difference in paperwork, doctors can charge you an arm and a leg to get access. Then you've got to make a payment online. If you don't got a credit card, very challenging to do. And then you got to get this sent to you by mail and it'll arrive a week or two later if that company happens to be in stock with the strains that you're looking for. And many of these companies have prioritized recreational cannabis or prioritized sending cannabis to Germany or other countries, so they're running low on stock. So the medical cannabis program is not easily accessible. And if you are homeless or poor or don't have easy access to the internet or can't wait a week or two to get your medicine, then it's just not working for those folks at all. And I feel an irony here because we're talking about increasing cannabis access in the downtown east side, but of course, I ran a dispensary in the downtown east side for over 10 years at 880 East Hastings, and we definitely see ourselves as a social enterprise and a nonprofit focused organization. We've been the primary donors to the High Hopes Foundation when that was operating. We've also been one of the biggest donors to the Cannabis Substitution Project that Neil Magnuson is going to talk about, and we also provide on an individual basis compassionate pricing or discounts or deals for those that need that. Now, we've kept our dispensary open at 880 East Hastings, but we're not selling cannabis there anymore. Our customers are still coming in, and we say, oh, you can go to our spot on Thurlow in the West End because that's allowed to operate. So we've got a good 2/3 of our members leaving the downtown east side, traveling to our dispensary in the West End and having lineups there to access our cannabis. And I just can't understand why that is preferable to having access in the downtown east side. And in my opinion, the restrictions on the downtown east side and cannabis access in there in general is really kind of condescending to that community that, well, people in the West End and in other parts of the city, they can handle cannabis access, but you guys in East Vancouver or in the downtown east side, you can't handle too much cannabis there. I see that as kind of a problem. So I hope this program succeeds, but the reality is trying to work within the federal legal system, it's not going to make it successful.
And that is your time, Mr. Larson. I do have a question for you. Let me start my own timer. I'll also start yours so you can see how much time I have. I find that helpful sometimes. So you had mentioned that at your dispensary on Hastings Street, East Hastings Street, you said?
That's right, 880 East Hastings.
I didn't quite get the address. That you don't sell cannabis there any longer?
We were one of the ones covered in that injunction, and the court. We would have been in contempt of court if we'd stayed open. So we're still open as a place, but we can't do any sales there anymore under threat of pretty severe legal action.
So I note that this motion talks specifically about cannabis, but I know that you have also spoken about mushrooms and treating and using mushrooms for I suppose as a, I don't want to call it a solution. What I've heard is that you've advocated for the use of mushrooms to combat the overdose crisis. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say that mushrooms or cannabis is the solution to the overdose crisis. They can help some people reduce or eliminate opiate use, but the real solution to the opiate overdose crisis is a safe supply of opiates and a safe supply of heroin.
Okay. And we did have the Naomi trial in Vancouver. And I remember that. I also remember the fact that they closed down. It was very short-lived. Looking at sort of our dispensary system, and you and I during the campaign, we had a chat at the all candidates or forum I attended that was hosted by the cannabis community. And regardless of the business license, that's maybe a motion somebody else will put forward one day. And we can talk about that there. Question that I asked is, do you think that it's fair that some people stay open and pay? And I asked a previous speaker the same question, versus those who paid the $30,000 license fee. Do you think a storefront should stay open if the city has said, no, you cannot lawfully be open?
Yeah, I think you're looking at it all backwards. It's the bylaws and the restrictions that are too harsh and are too powerful and too controlling. These limitations of 300 meters between dispensaries, limitations of access to schools. When we started our dispensary, we were entirely in violation of the law. And I tell you, I intend on finding another location in the downtown east side, reopening, continuing to defy the city, continuing to provide cannabis to those in that community. I'm not going to be in contempt of court, but I'm not going to stop providing cannabis to those who need it, because I see every day the benefits. I have so many people that tell us how grateful they are for this access. I could have brought a lot of folks in here to talk about how cannabis has helped them reduce or eliminate opiate use, but getting people here and the structure of these meetings is challenging. But no, I don't think that. I think that the city should change their bylaws rather than trying to enforce broken bylaws as they are.
And do you feel that you're going to pursue the same model with mushrooms?
I'm not sure what we're going to do with mushrooms. We're doing mail order right now, but it's kind of a separate issue, but we'll see about a dispensary. I think the city should be working with us and giving permits and be more open with their licenses. And the reality, we need a heroin compassion club.
That's my time, but Councillor Fry has questions for you. I'm just trying to be fair. Thank you.
Mr. Larson, thanks for joining us, and I would like to thank you for not bringing in an army of people. I know you could have, and for our benefit, thank you, because these meetings go on pretty long, and actually less is more sometimes.
I think you've got a lot of emails from people and that kind of.
And less is more. So what I wanted to touch, and I'm familiar with your old location on Hastings. I live in Strathcona. I know that a lot of folks at Raycam were really concerned, but I also know anecdotally that you ran a very good operation at the dispensary. However, the guys next door to you previously, the weed store, didn't run a solid operation. In fact, it was anecdotally not a well-run operation, and actually was sort of precipitated a lot of those concerns around bubble zones, around community centers, because of that very behavior that was lacking in an ethical standard that I think the dispensary actually displays. I do think the dispensary does a good job. So I have to challenge the assertion that we shouldn't have restrictions in bubble zones and that kind of nature, because not all retailers are equal.
Well, then you just deal with that retailer, right? I mean, if somebody's behaving irresponsibly, that should be on that person. But I don't see the need to block off whole areas of town. But I take your point.
Okay, so now, and I know your reputation as a real advocate and a champion of the benefits of cannabis. And I'm curious why you haven't pursued this more medicinal model. I appreciate what you said about difficulty in getting doctor's notes and stuff, but I don't think that that's insurmountable given the amount of service providers we have in the downtown east side, for instance.
We are a medical model at our dispensary.
But you're not licensed as a medicinal.
Well, we've been open over 10 years now. For the first 8 or 9 years, we required medical documentation. We turned away a lot of people. A couple of years ago, we stopped requiring medical documentation. I still see us as being medical, but like a non-prescription kind of a medication, because we can offer medical advice and guidance on people who are seeking to use these products. But why we didn't seek, I'm not sure what your question is, why we didn't seek
a medicinal license as opposed to a
from the city of Vancouver, you mean?
Yeah. And
well, we weren't able to apply for anything there. 880 East Hastings is zoned industrial purposes, even though it's full of commercial businesses. And with an industrial zoning, you can't go to the Board of Variance, you can't get an approval. And the system that the Vision Vancouver created around medicinal dispensaries and compassion clubs, they were so restricted that even the BC Compassion Club Society was not able to qualify as a compassion club. So those rules were really very difficult and almost impossible to follow under that standard. But I do consider us a medicinal cannabis dispensary.
Okay, I'm almost out of time, but that's an interesting point you raised. I do feel that there is that distinction, and I worry about the retail component, retail recreational, and conflating it with medicinal, especially in an area that's clearly asking for medicinal intervention.
Create a special type of dispensary license for medicinal ones and allow those to be in there, and I think we would all support something like that.
All right, thank you.
Oh, don't go away yet. Councillor Carr has questions. Great, Councillor Carr.
Yep, thanks, Mr. Larson, for coming in. I really appreciate that. I'm interested, you've had a lot of experience in this field, and were you here when the people from the Vancouver Coastal Health?
Yes, I heard their
Okay.
testimony, yeah.
Okay, so I'm interested in knowing from your experiential point of view, how often do you think you've seen any evidence of people who have really had more severe either mental health or mental health more than anything, reactions or consequences to the use of cannabis?
Cannabis is definitely not for everybody, but typically people who don't get benefit out of it don't seek it out. So there's lots of heroin users I've talked to, and we talk about our thing. They're like, I don't want that. That stuff makes me anxious. I don't like it. I don't want it. It's not for them. But in terms of seeing people have some kind of immediate reaction or a breakdown or whatever, I've never seen that happen. I wouldn't say it doesn't happen. It's not very common. And the solution for those people is don't use cannabis, or maybe use lower THC and higher CBD products or something like that. But I wouldn't say this is a solution for everybody, and I would never say that cannabis is going to solve the opioid crisis, because it's not. But it can definitely help some people reduce or eliminate their opioid use, and that is something we should be encouraging.
Okay, and what about, I'm sure that you've been, reviewed the kind of medical literature that's out there. There's some dispute over current studies as to whether or not they're showing the effectiveness of the use of cannabis in treating pain, for example, or even anxiety, though there's one side saying that could increase anxiety. Anyway, from your point of view, is the science still out on this? Do we need a lot more research? Is there research that is, from your opinion, trustworthy because of the kind of research the size of samples?
I think we always need more research. I'm never against that, but I think we know enough to act. And I think we're really in a situation of triage where we're dealing with an immediate crisis of multiple deaths every day, and that needs to inform our actions. The main thing should be, is there real evidence of harm that's going to come out of this? And if there isn't, then I think we should move forward. It was brought up, the study that was done. There were some studies showing that the American states with medical cannabis access had lower overdose rates. A new study has come out conflicting that information. My understanding is the newer study was including states that had like CBD-only laws or very restrictive medical access, and that was why it didn't show such significant results. But if you just look at American states that have real access through dispensaries and it's properly accessible, you do see a reduction in the overdose rate.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
That's your questions, Councillor?
Yeah, it is.
Carr? Okay, and you're out of time. Thank you, Mr. Larson.
That's it. All right, thank you very much.
There's canceling Angelina Salami Genovia. Genovia Salami.
Yeah, the chat there was some very
Very kind city councillors.
Yeah.
I like
good.
some of the chat comments. I was watching
like
them
that.
during the while it's going on. Yeah, it's I'm not gonna say anything because you know me.
Yes, we do.
Oh God. Well, yeah.
So that makes it a good thing, though. I guess I don't know. They're gonna vote on helping out the downtown east side.
I guess
way.
they have a chance to sleep on their conscience. Yeah, this is like a chance to come back and do the right thing and actually, okay, you're not a bunch of.
If they come back with like government weed or something, government edibles, I'm just gonna be like, you motherfuckers.
Oh, please, the government. I love the government's 10 milligram rule. I think that's hilarious.
You better believe it.
Hilarious. Because it just ensures, like, there's no better way to absolutely ensure that edibles will always be, people will be looking for the black market edibles.
Well, like, see, Washington has that to some effect or whatever, because they'll have like 100 milligram thing, but it'll be dosed out into like 10 pieces or whatever. But like when I got these candies, it was literally like 10 totally separated candies at each 10 milligrams each or whatever. And I was like, well, okay, that's good for dosing. But I guess like a chocolate bar might be every piece, but I think they don't want it connected. But I don't know. That's what I sort of seen over there.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of like 10 milligram gummy bears, for instance. Now that means
that'd be a lot of gummy bears.
Means I got to eat 35 to 40 gummy bears. I mean, not really what I'm looking to go do. and even chocolate, like. Unless, because that was what, when you said candies, my mind went, and you were kind of like this, and I'm like, so if they're the size of like, you know.
The little sour candies, yeah, there was literally
if
like.
they're tiny little things.
There was 10 of them
then-
on a
then
disc
it's
like
not
that.
a big deal.
Like, doot.
Yeah.
You know? So I ate like a bunch and was like, oh, that's fucking pretty good.
Microdot candies.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's good. And they
Yeah.
were really sour, so I liked that.
As long as they're small, like I say, if the gummy bears would have to shrink.
Micro bear, we'll call it.
Yeah, they'd have to be like half
The
the
micro
size of what they
bear.
are now. Then 35 of them, it's just like, well, you're just eating a bunch of candy.
Yeah, you don't want to eat a bunch of candy, because come on now. Unless you're a dentist's best friend or something.
Yeah.
Or the lover of a dentist.
Or the seller of dental equipment to dentists. Selling dental supplies.
Fucking right, drill bits.
Yeah.
It's probably good business, you know? They're just like, oh,
Dental
more
supply.
bits.
I wonder if they make more money than dentists. I bet you they do. Guys selling the dental stuff. Not making
Lots
it.
of mouths out there. Everyone has one, pretty much, you know?
Well, every time I go to the dentist, they always seem to have some new piece of equipment that we got to do this test, or we got to do this. Oh, well, what's this about? I've never heard this. Oh, it's a new equipment we got, and oh, how much does that cost? And oh, it's the same at the eye doctor. Every time I go to the eye doctor to check my eyes.
I don't believe the eye doctor sometimes. I'm going to go to a
They
couple.
always have a new piece of expensive equipment. The last one, I forget what it was called, but it was $98 extra for the test.
Last time I went, they gave me the wrong. Last time I went, they gave me the wrong prescription, and told me it was okay. Like I was like, I don't think this is okay. I'm like looking, going like, fucking hurts here, and then they're like, no, that's fine. It'll take a while to get used to it. So I left and was just like driving around, like I shouldn't have been even fucking driving. It was just like, oh, this is so weird. And then like, yeah, about an hour later, they call me. They're like, oh, could you come back? I was like, yeah. And they did another test and then gave me another prescription. But I was just like, so what happened? Oh, it was just a mistake or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I could have fucking crashed into like 20 people and like, oh. Yeah, so I don't even know what to do now. Now I'm gonna like go to 2 different doctors or whatever. Like go to that one company and then go to another totally different company and see if it's the same prescription.
Yeah, see how much it varies, eh? Yeah.
Because, yeah, like when I got these glasses, they're not as good as the first time I got my glasses. Like when I got my glasses for the first time, I was like, fuck, man, this is how it is. This is real deal. Like I see shit now. Now I know what I should see. Where these ones are just kind of like, yeah, but like it's still not perfect.
I know. I have. It seems every other time I change my glasses, I get, oh, these are way better, and then the next time I change them, it's like, oh, I don't know, and then like it's weird.
Oh, really? So it's just once in a while you get that perfect view?
No, I think it's because I constantly have changed opticians. I'm not always going to the same optician, so I think you're right. It has something to do with where you go.
Some are good, some are just fucking fake. Let's look into that, everyone. Let's get back. We're going to do an investigative report here. I'll be back in a few weeks with a few different pairs of glasses and a few reports from different optometrists. Cupcakes in the motherfucking house!
All right. Cupcakes.
They're not for us, though.
Not for us.
I think they're for Jer. Soon for us! Sorry, I get a little excited.
If Jared doesn't show up, we get his.
Yeah. Nah.
We get to take pictures and show him that like this is what you missed. Be on time next
put
time.
weed on them and shit.
Get to work. That's what Redbeard would say. Get to work.
That's coming up too this weekend.
That's right.
Or no?
No, next weekend.
Next weekend.
Great Canadian Glass Gathering. Well, he's on his way.
He's on his way, so he'll be here in 10 minutes, that means.
Yeah, it'll take him 15 to get up the hill.
And to park.
Well, I'm thinking it'll take him 10, 15 minutes to get through the store.
We got weed right here. It's crumbled up. There's no water in that bong, though, I don't think.
Yes, there is. Yes,
there is. Okay, yeah.
There is.
Sorry.
I see.
Sorry, yeah, I'm having hallucinations.
I could see with my X-rays vision.
Oh, look at that, a faceted bowl. So fancy. Oh, half an hour.
Hey, Neil, how you doing? Neil Magnuson here, just wandered into the studio.
Neil's in the house.
Help you guys out a little bit.
It's going to help us out a little bit.
What's going on?
We watched your speech at City Hall. We got to say, good job.
Well, that was good. That was fun, actually. I really enjoyed those 6 hours at City Hall and the 3 weeks it took to get there. I really hated every moment of what the... you want me to hold this thing? All right. I was really disgusted by Coastal Health at that meeting. I don't know if you played that tape.
No.
Oh my God. Dr. Daly, on behalf of Coastal Health, highly recommended against monkeying with the exclusion zone of cannabis being there. She said all kinds of horrible things about there was not a shred of evidence that cannabis helps anybody with opioid affliction or whatever they call it these days. She said that she'd never met anybody who told her that they had been helped by cannabis in any way. She said that it was a vulnerable population down there of people, and that cannabis can cause anxiety, and it can spark psychosis, and there was the whole developing brain problem with young people, and really it was like all this horrible stuff. And so they were there to highly recommend to council that they not change the exclusion zone of not allowing cannabis in that Hastings corridor on the downtown east side. Thankfully, council was really great. I really, especially Rebecca Bly, who countered her with, well, if I have a migraine headache, can I not, any time of the day or night go and find a pharmacy that's open 24 hours and buy all kinds of stuff that are, way more dangerous than cannabis? I mean, isn't that my right as a human being if I have some pain going on and that's going to be my relief, that I should be able to go and get that relief? And other really good questions like that. But in the end, they voted against Coastal Health's recommendation by a 7-2 vote, which was really powerful. And they amended it in a couple of ways from the original motion, which was to consult with the Vancouver Police, with Coastal Health, and the new provincial liquor cannabis regulatory board that they have, the LCRB. And they amended that to include consulting with Vandu about how cannabis should be dispersed on the downtown east side, and with people who use drugs, whatever that means. Which means a whole lot of people, I'm telling you, that they got to talk to now before they're going to do anything. And that's kind of the problem, is now they're going to consult. They also amended it to support research, which means they're going to have people paid, grants issued to monitor people that are using cannabis as a replacement therapy and see if it's working for them. So that's really awesome to put some money towards that and to allow that to happen so that they can research it. Coastal Health up there saying that there was not a shred of evidence that cannabis worked in the downtown east side.
Where's our red shirt?
and saying that they had never heard from anybody that had helped them. Well, that's just outrageous, and shame on them, because they've never come to see us at Vandu. We're approaching our 200th event of giving away hundreds of high-dose edibles every time that we're down there. There's hundreds of people down there that are more than willing to tell their story about how it helps them. They all come to our desk to get their care pack and thank us profusely and want to tell us about how they're no longer using street drugs, and it's helping them sleep, and it's helping with their knee pain, and on it goes, right? So shame on Coastal Health for never even coming and checking out our program.
If anybody actually is sincere about looking at evidence or looking into something, the internet is literally loaded.
Exactly.
So I really, at this day and age, after legalization, for anyone to pull up this, what we need to study it more, is ridiculous.
And to be presenting yourself as a doctor who works in addictions and with this type of population, and to make those kind of comments. She also said that MJ Malloy had just completed a study, and the conclusions were is that it's unsubstantiated and it's insufficient evidence and it doesn't look like cannabis helps people. She said those things, and I know that's not what's in that report. We were part of that report. They interviewed dozens of people from our project, and I know those people told them way different than that.
No,
she's lying through her teeth. She's full of shit, and she's corrupt as can be. Because if she was like, I totally agree, Mick. Totally agree, Mick, that if she was doing her job, it wouldn't take much to figure out that cannabis works for people. And as I said to council, I presented numerous studies to Vandu when I first started this project that showed that cannabis was effective, not just for replacing opioids, but also for just pain in general. And that's what most people are taking those drugs for, is for either severe physical or emotional pain. So yeah, they were full of shit, but council saw right through them, and good on them. And what this also does is sends a really good message, a very strong message, that council is now an ally in trying to get cannabis into this equation of being part of the solution for the opioid crisis. That's a huge message.
Yeah, it is. That's for sure. I don't know. What was your take on Melissa DeGenova?
Salami Geneva Nova.
Well, I know Freddie Pritchard says because she voted in favor of the amended motion that we need to be very careful and wary of this motion because she's in favor of it, and I don't disagree with that. She's never been a friend of ours at all. I think that Dana Larson did a great job of presenting the truth there. I thought that Marion, who is the executive director of Vandu on behalf of Coastal Health, very simply stated about how they were very, very happy to have us in Vandu doing what we're doing when we're there. That's a very good event. And that the Vandu membership come to her and tell her how valuable it is to them without them even soliciting those questions. So that really countered what Coastal Health had to say.
Yeah, Dana always is.
Oh, he was great.
Does a great job.
Yeah,
well spoken.
He filled his 3
Very
minutes without
well-spoken.
notes and just told it like it was and just wrapped it up in the proper time. And
He can do that in his sleep, I think, that guy.
Yeah.
I like the whole mushroom thing that's coming on now. I think
Facebook doesn't. Facebook banned his mushroom
I
post.
saw his post about he was
So silly.
7-day banning on Facebook for his mushroom. Inappropriate post. Was that his mushrooms?
Yeah, he was just trying to promote his I think it's mushroom.com or something.
Yeah,
he's
his
got,
mushroom
but,
business.
Mushroom.com.
And they didn't want that on there. I don't know what they're afraid of.
That's okay because, I mean, it just gets reported in the HuffPost, places like that for free. So they got
Exactly.
it all up there. You can check those ones out, right? I'll share it up on my Twitter feed.
I'll share it up on my Insta.
That's the thing is all those kind of negative reporting and stuff and that fake news just boosts the story even more. We're
Georgia
talking about that
Straits
for
and other
Cannabis
people.
Day. What can we do to be
Georgia Strait, I'll
controversial
have
on
it up
Cannabis
and
Day?
it's up there.
Yeah.
What can we do
Piper.
to be controversial on Cannabis Day to get the government to come out and say, "Oh no, they shouldn't be at Thornton Park," and then the media can run with
I
that.
know
and,
exactly.
I know
Trust me.
exactly.
It's
I know
kind of too
exactly.
late now, maybe.
We've both already been arrested. Don't ask for that.
Oh, yeah, Canada Days hasn't been good.
I don't want controversy the
history.
day of. I just want some lead up publicity.
I think we should send
You
Melissa
get it, don't worry.
DeGenova an email and invite her to Abstinence
For
Day.
salami sandwiches.
Abstinence Day.
No, absinthe.
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 Abstinence. Sort of like abstinence, but different.
Oh, with the fairy, the green fairy.
Yeah.
Fairy. That's it. She probably will have to Google it and look it up.
Yep.
And then she's gonna fucking lose it. What?
They can't be doing that.
What? We're opening.
She probably
lounges.
drinks a lot of liquor.
We should
She
have an
works for the
absinthe
government.
festival then. Get all the kinds over here and everyone, and just have like people drink it and be all intoxicated from it. It'll be good.
You can get it in Australia.
We can get it here.
Can you get it here?
Yeah, not in Ontario. A few places you can't, but I think here you can. It's only the 50% stuff, not the 70%, but whatever.
Oh, that's all right.
It still has Tujon and Woodworm or whatever the other one
Wormwood.
is. Wormwood.
Yeah, Miss
Woodworm.
DeGenova was not one of the counselors I was talking about that
Baba
asked really good
Woodworm.
questions on our behalf. She was the chair of the meeting. They revolve that position as they go, and so she was the chair there.
It's just that on so many other times I've heard her speak, like when it comes to the cannabis issue, all of her reasoning.
Fucking, I think he's
that-
here.
that for her points that she always brings up are like
Singing him happy
ridiculous.
birthday?
Yeah.
And clearly
From a very
just-
uneducated point of view.
Well, and also a real stick in the mud. I don't want to listen to your side kind of attitude.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. She's got her mind made up.
Oh, it's happy birthday.
The hostess with the
Ready to
mostest
start
is in the
now?
house.
Now
Carly
I'll
wants
start.
to sing
Ready?
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday on Monday to you. Happy birthday, Jeremiah. Happy birthday to you.
Janky over here.
And many more.
Best part is getting to hear Neil's amazing singing voice.
Yeah. He did the
He's getting ready for Cannabis on Canada Day here.
It's the big lead up.
So
No girlfriends. Just kidding.
another thing that happened at council meeting. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that yet.
Thank you, darling.
Get into this.
Now we can eat the cupcakes.
I've got my own little version.
There's extras, is there?
Yeah, they're
Cherries and everything.
Oh, extra.
Cherries. Thanks,
Non-medicated.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, guys.
There you go.
One of them has pot smoke in it, so you have to.
And actually,
Smoke?
Yes,
Like a
we've been.
balloon.
and actually, this is a little pre-early because your birthday is actually on Cannabis Day on July 1st.
Yes. it is,
Yeah.
actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just doing a little celebration on Pot TV here.
Yeah.
Well, because it's
Birthday
today.
show or
Birthday
whatever.
show.
Exactly. Well, that's nice of you, Pot
Birthday
TVs.
weekend, cannabis party, long weekend show.
Nice.
That's it.
Wow, they look really good.
They do.
They're not infused?
No.
Oh.
Just wait till
So
he
you have to. So you have
till
to.
he eats a couple. So you gotta eat a couple then.
You gotta take a cup. You gotta take a big toke with them.
Oh yeah, then that bong's full.
And the bong
I'll
rip.
eat one.
Yeah.
Bong toke and a cupcake.
Bong rip and a cupcake.
So we were just talking about the council meeting there and some of the things that DeGenova was doing and saying and other things, and Coastal Health. And with Coastal Health, yeah, she was the chair. We just covered that too. The Coastal Health said that the problem is that they don't want cannabis down there because it causes anxiety and psychosis in some people. And so every speaker that got up was asked that question: have you experienced any psychosis or people suffering from anxiety? Well, the answer is I've experienced people telling me that happens to them. I've never seen a psychotic episode sparked by cannabis. I mean, maybe some greenouts with dabs, the odd time.
El dab,
a non-veteran,
the volcano.
but that's not what they're talking about.
Sublimator when it first came out.
That is not what they're talking about. So I've never witnessed anything like that, but I have witnessed people tell me that pot makes them anxious or edibles makes them anxious, and they don't do it because of that. And that's the answer: is those people just don't. We're not forcing cannabis on anybody on the downtown east side. We're simply wanting it to be available for those people for whom it does work, and the people for whom it doesn't work. Well, it's not a problem because they don't use it.
I think for 99.9999% of people, that's not going to be a problem. I think it's people that are predisposed to things like schizophrenia and other things that can set them off when they smoke cannabis.
Have shown
that is the report.
True. There's some people who get a little anxious when they smoke pot, but that's the same with any substance. Some people get anxious when they eat sugar. Some people get a little anxious
and more
or
people
shaky
got
when they eat
anxious
coffee.
before legalization.
When people
with good
tell me
reason.
they get paranoid when they smoke pot,
yeah,
I says, is that actually because of the pot or because we've been drilled into us that it's bad or you're not supposed to?
Well, or you're going to get arrested.
I don't want I don't want my parents to find out.
Yeah.
So is that the paranoia?
I have to say,
I have to wonder because if it was,
I think. Well, I was just going to say there's two things that I wanted to say about this. One is I have been paranoid when smoking pot before, or when I'm taking edibles before.
When it was illegal?
Like not anything. Like it wasn't about like I'm going to get arrested or whatever.
Just paranoid.
It was like I felt anxious, like something bad was going to happen, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I thought I was like going to have a heart attack or some shit.
Always.
I was like, and it was. It was completely ridiculous, and it didn't make any sense, and I smoke weed all the time. That was a long time ago when I was eating, probably one of the first times I ate edibles almost ever. But it was really uncomfortable.
I got that on the plane coming back from Amsterdam.
I was like, oh my God, my heart, it was beating fast.
I was uncomfortable, I was like, I don't like this at all, I
was smuggling seeds back from Hawaii in some tinfoil that I put into a slit in my running shoe, and I'm sitting on the plane heading back thinking, oh, damn, I got to go through a metal detector. So I was a little bit anxious about that.
Well, that'll make you anxious.
That was about getting arrested.
That's because you're actually anxious about something.
I drank a lot on the way back
that
time.
It was completely out of character, and it was something that's almost never happened to me before. But it was induced by the edibles.
I grabbed a random space cake from like a coffee shop that I didn't know just because I forgot to get one from our normal shop, and then ate it and was like, oh, I'm stoned here on the plane.
and now here's the other thing. I have a personal experience with somebody who did have a psychotic episode after smoking pot. And I know that it's true because he threw. My friend Marcus, who he's not supposed to smoke pot because it does this to him. But he's predisposed to some sort of disorder like schizophrenia or something. He never really told me, but I'm pretty sure it's that. But one time he smoked pot and he snapped and acted weird and out of nowhere threw a fucking basketball at my head. And he's not a violent person. He's a super nice guy. So it was really weird, and it was like he wasn't himself. That same, or the next time that happened, that he smoked pot, he went on the BC ferries and let his dog run loose and acted all crazy and got himself banned from the BC ferries. So he definitely has something. When he smokes pot, it sets him off. He starts acting weird. He's not like that normally. And his doctors told him that he should not be smoking cannabis. He can drink, he can do whatever drugs, cocaine, everything else, but when he smokes pot, it makes him act weird.
Weird.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's like when
It's
I
not
have
for everybody.
When I have rye whiskey, it's like that.
Yeah, tequila does that to me.
I've been smoking pot for 49 years this year.
Yeah.
And I've had some, I've eaten too much pot and end up on the floor and couldn't move for hours, couldn't talk, wide awake, but was unable to actually do anything. And other people in the same room were doing the same thing.
I've been there.
We made cookies that were way too strong.
Yeah.
Cannabis milk's like that for me.
These were hash cookies that were just
Done.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, in the And the hashish eaters, when they're eating big chunks of hash, they're tripping balls for real.
Full balls,
yeah,
full
they're
time.
Like out, like it's like taking acid for those guys or whatever. But
Cannabis is strong and it affects people in different ways, and it's not for everybody. It does work well for some people. The right dose is great. The right dose will help people with anxiety and depression. The wrong dose with the wrong person, and you can have the opposite effect.
The wrong
And
hash.
also,
The wrong
it's not the role of
strain,
government.
or
Is
the right
kind of the
strain.
point of this whole. You know what we're upset about is it's not the role of government to be making those choices for people. It might be the role of government to make sure that those that information is out there.
Right.
But it's certainly not their role to restrict and prohibit and overregulate to the point where there is an underground market and there is a lot less
In the
of those kind of protections for
underground.
people.
Well, think of it this way: if this is
has
like one person out of a
balloon
billion
on
or
it.
whatever, or a million, or who knows what it is going to have that reaction. But pretty much everybody who drinks too much alcohol has some sort of a psychotic episode almost, or like if you drink, or you pass out, or stumble into traffic, or have other things that might puke,
Very
get
true.
really sick, or have other things that might hurt you. So
That's called abuse.
people who are too drunk, but I mean, anybody who drinks too much alcohol is going to get to that stage. You
Yeah.
can take 99% of people and they're going to smoke cannabis till you fucking can't smoke anymore, and that's not going to happen to you. But nobody, gives a shit about alcohol and all the craziness it causes. They
True.
compare it like it's, if weed caused the same things that alcohol did, it would never be legalized because everybody would go fucking ape shit over it.
Well, and there's a lot.
Actually,
There's alcohol.
If they had the same.
If it went
effects-
illegal, the black market would probably take over, and the mafia might start dealing black market booze and selling in little shops.
That's what they did before.
Yeah,
And there is
That's what I mean.
alcohol available in that Hastings corridor that they're talking about, and alcohol is a problem down there for sure. Yesterday at Van Du, we had one of our elderly ladies in a wheelchair get her care package, go back to where she was going, and got attacked by a fellow who was drunk and beat her up, pulled her out of her wheelchair. He almost got killed. I had to run back there and stop the people from actually killing him. And then the police got there and took him away. But that was all alcohol fueled. And most of the problems they have down there are alcohol fueled.
Dude, I got a picture on my phone right here, just when I was walking over here today,
right,
of a guy, and he's leaned up against the pole. He's right at the corner in front of 7-Eleven.
He's got a big wine bottle in front of him.
He's got a half a gallon of wine, half empty. Well, no, there's about that much left in a half a gallon of wine.
Oh.
But he's like, this is at the middle of a major.
Well, it's like my date on Saturday night.
Downtown. So this is really common. But I can go back to, when I used to live on the streets many, decades ago. That was all you used to see, though, was alcohol.
Yeah.
It was all about drinking and stuff, and the cops would make the rounds constantly and roust people for drinking and say, pour out your liquor, pour out your booze, whatever, your beers. That was just
all
and
that.
it's like now it's like everybody just drinks and shoots drugs and does it's all just wide open, and I don't see any cops doing anything.
Well, especially in the downtown east side, it's more like when you bring someone that's never been down here before and you show them that, they're fucking blown away. Like, I don't realize that I see it every day, have for the last 12 years.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I'm used to it, and that's sad almost, you know what I mean? But yeah, you bring someone from Sudbury here and you bring them downtown in Main and Hastings, and they're just like, that guy was just shooting drugs, that guy was dealing drugs, is that guy even dead? That guy's dead, like, you're like,
I
yeah.
had a buddy here from Northern Ontario, and he's on his motorcycle. This was last summer. So I said, well, come on, we're going to go downtown. I says, oh, okay. And I purposely took him, we rode our bikes down through Hastings, through the strip there, and I could tell he's behind me. I was watching his head. He was just... He's like starts to go fast, and I'm like, I'm like, no, slow down. You got to go slow. You get in trouble. He's like,
yeah, it's 30.
I want to get out of here. He says, no, it's 30K. Like we're already doing 40.
Yeah, you're good.
And we look like we're going very quick, but we're on bikes, so
you get a little freedom.
We get a little bit of more slack, and plus my bike, I find like a lot of the people down there, they kind of like give me the, hey buddy, that's a cool bike. I get a lot of that instead of them walking in front of me. They kind of like, oh, sorry, bro. Okay, cool, right? That's all works for me. But yeah. So, but you're right. Anyone comes from out of town, I take them in the car.
They're just like,
drive
what?
down here, and they're just like, what is this? It's amazing. But my thing is just what it's gotten to, and it's over such a period of time, and it just goes back to like, how did we let this get to this point?
It's out of control. And like, when did
But
it start?
every-
Everyone
but
says it's
everything's
been
like
like that for a long time now.
Okay,
So I'm
but
like,
look at it this way: you got this whole problem of the downtown east side and the alcohol and meth and everything else and heroin and such. But
seen a guy smoking meth outside the
that's
post
just
office
one,
today.
That's just one issue. Another issue:
Full
you had
out,
over 100 compassion clubs or dispensaries open up here in the city at one point. No licenses, no rules, no legal. It wasn't
Self-regulated.
legal. Self-regulated, and they do nothing. Okay, fine. All of a sudden, the government gets in, and what happens? They decide. See, this is what it was. As long as it was illegal, we were self-regulated. We ran things, and everything worked well.
They're like, okay, that's
the
fine.
government gets involved. I always say you can't trust the government because the government motto is, if it's not broken, fix it till it is.
Well, and what's going
now
on down
the
there?
cannabis market is in a shambles as far as I'm concerned.
What's going on down there is a sign of our corruption in our country, of their dysfunction in our country, the prohibition of certain drugs to protect the other drugs, and that's all backwards and upside down. It's public servants that are going way beyond their means. Whenever government gets involved with stuff like that, it goes badly. When the government tries to tell people you can and can't do something, it's never for the right reasons, and it always turns out to be protecting some other private interest that's got them doing that for them, and it never works out well for the actual people. And this is what's happened here for all these years of our dumbocracy not doing what it's supposed to do to protect people, allow people to have access to cannabis instead of these other things, allow people to have proper things like money in their life. Poverty is huge. The cost of living is way through the roof, and it doesn't need to be this way. We're being gouged by the people that are running the show here
Bent
in huge,
over.
huge ways. They're making billions of dollars on their enterprises, and that's off the backs of the people.
Well, one of the things to watch for, and trust me on this one, as the fact that when city council said they were going to include the police in their consultation.
Well, that was the original motion, was to have a consultation with those three bodies. Yep.
Every time they mention that, you got to remember the police. They don't want anything to do with this.
Popo.
They are not our friends.
Nope. They want money. They want a job.
They
they want,
they want for their colleagues who've opened up legal LP stores, they want their business, and that's where this is going to go.
Yeah.
This is why.
Well, they don't want to take it away.
Genova and these other people who are not normally our friends. Oh, well, yeah, we'll look into this, and they're going to come back that they put in government stores. They're going to have all kinds of,
They're going to respond to our pleas for medical cannabis, and they're going to do it through the LP system that they have.
Downtown East Side stores will probably only be allowed to sell a smaller amount to people a day because they don't want people blowing their whole checks coming in, and, you know what I mean? So they won't be able to, oh, no, sorry, we can only sell you this much a day, and you have to come
Well,
back
that's what's going on right now. These people are like,
Well, they won't do that with us. I'll tell you, they're not going to do that with the cannabis.
But come check day, though, you see what I'm getting
Oh,
at?
yeah, then they might buy that.
So they're not going to say, no, you're going to, there'll be special rules for just this area.
Well, you're already only allowed to buy so much cannabis at the government store, right?
Which is why I don't shop in the
I think you
government
can buy
store.
whatever. No, you can buy whatever.
You can only
you're
carry a
limited.
certain amount out of that
You
store.
can't buy a quarter pound. You can't walk in and go.
Oh, I guess you can only buy 30 grams.
There you go.
And it costs you like $800.
And you got to take it straight home in the trunk of your car. And
That's right.
Put it away.
Or on a bus.
No, we're not going to allow that, Mick. I mean, we are the Cannabis Substitution Project. We are over 2 years, and we're an established public health initiative, and they're not going to. We're not going to bow to that. We will not lose the fight to the LP weed system or the minimal dose edible system. We've been demonstrating very, very well that you can give people a nice package of and that's what I said at City Council. I said there's 450 to 500 milligrams of cannabis in this one bag, and that's what we give them. And because we've done that twice a week for all this time to all these people, and we haven't had any big health concerns about it, they're not going to be able to win the day on that.
More help?
We're not going away.
Anything.
We're not going away. We'd love to have their backing and approval and support, but we're not going to stop what we're doing the way that we're doing it.
Did you see in the news today, there's stories about, in a couple of sources, infants. There's been a number of infants treated for overdosing on edible cannabis. And
That's
I'm like,
always been the case.
Fucking stupid
all
parents.
of a sudden, it's like this.
Leaving it in the crib.
Nothing new.
No, you know.
Every year, thousands of kids are brought to hospital because they got into their parents' edibles and
But
ate
where's
too
that
much.
booze? Their booze.
how many
Never
kids-
has there been a significant consequence to any one of those cases. They're always released the next day, if not the night of, and they're never in worse shape the next day. They're usually in better shape the next day.
Yeah, they
no
fed during
significant
the
health
cannabinoid
issues
system.
resulting
I know,
from that.
but they're reporting differently in the news. They're starting
of course.
saying they are having health issues, or they're saying there could be health issues.
They're doing everything they can to discredit cannabis.
But I think if you're gonna like ban edibles that way because of that, or have low doses, then I say you got to like start having miniature Tide Pods. Because
that's what I was
obviously
going to say.
Tide
I mean,
Pods are an issue.
I was going to say we just need to talk
it's not
about
just infants, but we have older children eating them as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to like reduce the size of your laundry detergent pods because it's just not
that's
safe.
just one of a bunch of
It's
different
just not
things.
safe.
The real issues with kids being brought to hospital is when they get into what's in your garage and in your basement, under your kitchen sink, and those kind of things, in your
course.
medicine cabinet, in your liquor cabinet. These are serious issues that kill our children in Canada. Cannabis overdosing on edibles does not kill any child ever. That's never going to happen. That's impossible because of the physiology and the nature of cannabis. So they're just using everything they can. They test for
nature of the
cannabis in every
beast.
situation. Like a lot of people that probably have different types of accidents on the job and otherwise will test positive for cannabis, even though it's just there because they used it long before and it wasn't a factor.
Secondhand
but
smoke
they're
from being
gathering
at
all
their
that
neighbors.
information, and because so many people in the population are using cannabis, it is showing up that there's a lot of people involved in all these other things that also have cannabis in their system because it's a normal thing these days. I'm blown away by the demographics of people who use cannabis. We've been doing protests outside of some of the ministers, the government ministers here in British Columbia. And the people that come and engage with us and want to toke off of what we're doing or want some advice on where they can go and get some cannabis, it's not for me because I've been at it for a long time and I understand the demographics. But for the average person, they would look at that and think, wow, you'd never think that person was a cannabis consumer. Because most people are using it these days.
I don't know. I saw, I don't know who put it together, but I saw a really cool video on Facebook. And it was similar to what you just
Mark
said.
Zuckerberg's video now.
Yeah, but it was, and it looked like it was very well done too. And it was just the faces. They said, "What if commercial?" It was like one of those. Oh, what if these were like real commercials on like we see about on television for like other stuff. And it was just showing like all these normal people in normal occupations, like, Bill, doctor, cannabis user.
I think CBC did that or something.
And then it was all these very, from all these different welder and nurse and caregiver, all these different people, and they're all like cannabis user, cannabis user, cannabis user. And it wasn't medical. It didn't have any reference.
Well, except that all use is medical.
No, but it wasn't making reference that it was just making reference to cannabis users, not that they were medical users. Yeah. It wasn't. It was just saying, hey, everybody smokes weed, is what it's telling you. All kinds of people. There is no, not the cannabis user doesn't have to have long hair and be wearing beads and jeans. Like it could be the person who's giving you your driver's license test. Could be a cannabis user.
Might have been at City Hall. There was somebody that gave their testimony there that for them the turning point was when their elderly mother was talking about all of her friends using cannabis for different things and how it was helping them, and his mother was now fine with it, and all her life she'd been totally against it. And he said for him that was kind of the turning point of thinking about how many people are using cannabis and where they are.
In 2001, I ran for the BC Marijuana Party in Oak Bay, Gordon Head, over on the island in Victoria.
Nice.
And Oak Bay, they call that behind the tweed curtain, the land of the newlyweds and the nearly deads. It is literally a lot of very elderly people. And I was going around canvassing, and I had canvassing, and I had one lady, an elderly lady. I came to her door, and she asked me if I could come back on Saturday because she was going to have her friends over. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I went back on Saturday with a bunch of literature and stuff like that, and realized, I didn't bring the right thing. I should have brought a bunch of weed. Because
they're all there with 20s.
There are all these old ladies there, one old dude.
Got a 20.
And they were all like, did you bring any weed? I was like, well, I've got some weed, yeah. Like, not
I
to sell,
got 5
but
on that, she said.
But they all wanted to smoke, so we sat there and talked about politics and smoked weed with a bunch of elderly people in Oak Bay.
Me too, yeah.
And that was it was just one of those like, this is not the reception I thought I'd be getting here in Oak Bay. I figured I'd be getting a lot of that, get the fuck off my lawn, kind of comments. And I got anything but. Actually, though, I did get the cops come check me out, but only because somebody called because they saw somebody was walking up door to door, knocking on doors, and
looking indoors.
Well, no, just knocking on doors, and they called. So the cops came, and I told them who I was, and they went, "Not a problem, sir. We're just making sure you're not casing houses." They were thinking it might have been a B&E guy. So,
Right.
No, okay. They said thanks, and they left.
A week ago, they had the Indigenous Day here in Vancouver, and at Crab Park, there was an event put on there, and I was there on behalf of the Cannabis Substitution Project, and we were sponsored by the stock market down on Broadway there, the Indigenous Cannabis Dispensary, and so we rolled joints for everybody, and twice during that event, we handed them out to people. The first time I went on stage and just announced that if anybody wants a joint, we were over at the 2 vans there, we're rolling there, thinking there'd just be a handful of people come and get a joint. Nope, everybody lined up and all got a joint. They took everything we had rolled by that point. And then later on, we were going to hand them out at 420. We weren't sure quite how to do that. And they had everybody lined up to get the salmon that they were barbecuing there. And the organizer just decided, well, let's just go give them to the people that are in the lineup. They're all lined up there anyway. So I went to the back end, and he started at the front end, and we both had our bags, and we handed out joints. And there was a huge variety of people there, young and old. We didn't give out joints to anybody below 16. We would never do that. And there wasn't much there in that way anyway. But for me, the reason I was bringing this up is because so many of the elderly people that were there, they were all just so happy to have a joint. Nobody turned down a joint. They were all happy to take it and happy to have it.
Huh. See, you got to remember, I'm like becoming one of the elderly people. We're getting
Stop
up in
it,
there.
Nick.
We're getting up
Just
in
giving
there.
people joints.
So,
good.
but no, you got to look at it. They're the elderly, so-called elderly you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're us now.
Are the hippies from the 60s.
Yeah.
They were the beatniks from the 50s that turned into the hippies in the 60s,
True.
the 70s. This is when all the young people were smoking pot and, getting out of the sort of norm and the way things were prior. We rebelled and pot helped people
Rebel yell.
Pot helped people to, open their eyes and see what was going on. They questioned things, and here we are today. But, that's what I think you see a lot of, acceptance with the elderly today. They were the pot users of yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably never.
And there's a lot of new users amongst that population as well, and a lot of people that weren't part of that culture.
And also,
back in the day.
a lot of elderly people today are grandparents, and they have grandchildren that smoke pot. And they still love them and and they're non-judgmental, and they realize pot hasn't fucked up my grandchild. Thank God they're not on meth. Okay?
Well, yeah.
And I think that you see a lot of that people just realize, well, there was no big deal. That's really, it's
we are undoing the stigma.
We're out there. We've undone the stigma. The stigma is undone.
Oh, it's
And
not
people
completely
like
undone.
city
The government
council,
is continuing it.
They want to continue it, but they're not getting very far.
I know. In
There's
the
too
public
many
realm,
people out
it's
there that are
really
just, like,
dissipating.
not buying it.
But there is a lot going on still from government and from the medical associations and those types of people. There's a lot of that. We still need to have our rallies, and we still need to educate the public, and we still need to get up on stage and preach about these things. That's why we got Cannabis Day coming up. That's what we did at 420. These are the opportunities for us, the platform that we've built for ourselves to be able to do that. So I want to make sure that we talk properly about Cannabis Day coming up on Monday, and we get people there. And I don't know if you guys shouted out to some of the people that have helped us out on Cannabis
No shout
Day.
outs were given.
So we want to.
No, I didn't have a list.
I want to shout out to the medicinal cannabis
Why
dispensary.
don't you just take that on?
I'm
shout
doing
out
that
to
right now
Seed Bank.
because that's got to
Shout out
happen.
to Seed Bank.
These events are very important. They've brought us to where we are today, and they're going to bring us farther into the future. And the groups that help us do this are so important, and we need to support them because they support us and they make it happen. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. We're not charging for booths at Cannabis Day, so there's no revenue coming in from any of that. We still have to come up with a stage and a porta potties and for sound systems and all the other things that cost money. So we're very, very happy for the people that support what we do. So I want to shout out to the Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary, who's been on board since their very beginning for 10 years now. They've been helping us out at every one of our events in really profound ways, and they continue to do that, despite the problems that they've had with having to shut down one of their locations because of legalization. Weeds, Glass, and Gifts, right there alongside of the medicinal cannabis dispensary. They're again this year helping us pull off this event, and we're very thankful to them. And they've had to shut down a lot more than just one of their stores, and they've had to lay off over 100 people. And it's really tough on them for this so-called legalization. And yet they're still supporting what we're doing, because hopefully we can make it better for them in the future as well, and provide more opportunity. And Mama's Market, they're down in the 6,000 block of Main Street. 6345, I think, is where they are. And they're more of a flower shop. They're not a dispensary anymore. They've been shut right down by the city. They're not able to continue on as a dispensary, but they do have flowers available, and it's a nice shop, and they've been great supporters of ours. And there again, this year, they're going to help sponsor Cannabis Day, so they're on our list as well. And Dirty Dave, a regular contributor and a long-time friend and grower.
Yeah, good
Dave,
man.
who just likes to make sure that everything's pure. He's so about
Good
organic
buddy.
and
He's a
so
good
about
bud.
clean medicine. I love that guy, and thanks to him, we're on the cutting edge of.
Only thing dirty
cannabis
about Dave
therapeutics.
is his name.
I was hoping to see him. That's good.
Well, he'll be there on Cannabis Day, I'm sure.
Good.
Cannabis Culture, of course. Who
are they?
CC.
Everywhere, all the time, and the main organizing force behind all these events for well over 20 years now, and so they got to get a mention.
Yeah,
and the
we've been
newest
doing
one on
this
the
a
block
while.
is the Stock Market. And
Stock
that's
Market.
the indigenous cannabis dispensary that's down near Trutch on Broadway, and they're serving that population down there. And they've been big supporters of all the events coming up recently as well. So looking forward to having them on board, and go down and check them out if you're in that area, way the heck down Broadway.
Trutch and Broadway.
And a shout out to the Holy
Stock
Rollers.
Market, that's STALK.
Like a weed stalk,
Yeah,
Plant stock.
that's right.
In case you didn't know.
Just thought I'd just throw that out there just in case.
And they have edibles there, as does the medicinal cannabis dispensary. Weeds, Glass, and Gifts, they have edibles as well, in defiance of the bylaws and the other laws. And that's a very important point, because those edibles are really important in helping people, especially with the overdose crisis. The high-dose edibles are extremely
HD
valuable to people
edibles.
in offsetting that use. And just while I'm still on the little note there, I want to give a shout out to the Holy Rollers.
Rolling it up.
Awesome team. They were at the Indigenous Day helping out at that event. They're at Vandu at the Cannabis Substitution Project twice a week, and they've been here for the last few weeks rolling up for Cannabis Day.
I saw her, the landlord.
Heavenly
Landlord's
Rollers.
been here,
Landlord
and
was
a
here, and
number of other ones.
These
George.
guys, they rolled up like 4 pounds of weed.
4 Pinos.
That's about what we got.
4P.
Yep.
No, that's what he told me. I said, how much?
Yep.
He goes, we asked him. I was up in the office with Jerry having a meeting
4P.
on Wednesday, and he's 4P. I went, really? I says, well, I got this much. And he had like one of them big baggies with about this much in the bottom, those
QP.
half-pound bags or QP bags. Yeah. And,
Or half pound, yeah.
Yeah, half-pound bags. So there was probably maybe 2 ounces of crumble left in a bag. And I was like, that's what you got left out of 4 pieces? Yeah, we rolled it all up. I said,
Yep.
Nice
We're
job.
done.
Nice job.
Yeah.
And John, early,
420, they were done early days early. I think
Yeah,
we had
it's
like a
same
camping
thing.
trip for them, and
These guys got their shit
I don't know if
together.
that
They're
happened.
good rollers.
Yep.
Holy rollers.
Holy Rollers. And sometimes what I give them to roll has got lots of little stock in it and lots of other stuff, and they deal with all that
they
stuff.
gotta
They
prep
figure it
down
all
and
out.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. There's obviously it's not.
it's not
just,
easy work sometimes.
No.
There's definitely an art to it.
It's not fun and ganja, as they like to say.
And what we get is like 4 pounds of weed that we're going to throw out to the crowd.
You just got lines for everything today.
I'm on today. That's it.
Rocking it.
Cooking.
Toronto was good to
The
you.
cookie's cooking.
Cookies on.
Right. So yeah, we're going to throw out about 4 pounds of weed to the crowd. And that's
Hear
what we
that?
normally
Come
do
on
as
down
well.
to Cannabis Day.
4 Pinos
Thornton
getting
Park.
thrown out.
And there'll be lots of other giveaways as well.
4 pounds of weed out to the crowd. Woo! Yeah.
And the crowds are small there, so hey, that's good.
And I got to say, the quality of weed is excellent. Like it's really excellent.
Oh, good weed
The
too.
smell of the joints in the bags is like, woo, that's so nice,
Nice.
Yeah. Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun on Cannabis Day.
And the weather's supposed to be nice. Going to be a nice day.
Tell your friends.
Right off the
If
sky
you're going to set up a booth, come on down. The booths are free. There's lots of space down there. Probably come early is not a bad idea, but it's not like 420.
No, it's never like 420. It's always much. I always liked Cannabis
We're gonna
Day
play
actually
Cypress
better
Hill.
because it was just it's a little more casual. You can walk around. It's a little easier to talk
Shady.
to people.
Might even play the
Shade.
Roots too.
There's those little brick pathways, and down each one of those pathways is a little community unto itself. They're really amazing little spots all the way through there.
Yeah, it's
I
a
love
nice-
Cannabis
it's a
Day.
great-
Lots of marijuana plants will be for sale.
Yeah,
that's for
we will.
sure.
Right at the,
We're bringing down clones.
It's right at the
Nice.
Main Street SkyTrain.
Lieutenant Irie
you
will
just
be on
take
the ones and
SkyTrain to Main
twos.
Street, get off, you're right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like really easily very accessible, very accessible.
And the weather's going to be good, so it's going to be a fun day.
Yep, weather's gonna be decent.
Yes.
I'm down as one of the speakers.
Yep.
I'll be
Cool.
speaking on the.
We got some musical acts. We got lots of activist speakers.
I know there's a huge list of speakers, and well, I didn't know there was music acts, but I know we got a DJ.
We got a DJ. We also got some other impromptu musical acts coming along.
Impromptu.
I can vouch for that.
Lieutenant Irie on the decks.
And Lieutenant I will be on
Bump, bump, bump.
on the
Jeremiah,
discs.
he's just back in there hanging out with Alyssa.
They're planning.
with a boss, Alyssa. Just
They're planning
they're
about something.
Just chilling.
About her show
talking.
tomorrow.
Show kind of runs itself.
I guess that was it. We're back in town. I was coming down. He's like, oh, hell, I can just take the day off.
Slacked off.
I'm going to have to charge him double.
He has not been slacking off. In fact, we should talk a little bit about what he's been doing and why he's not here. He's been moving high score.
Oh, that's right. Right
to,
back
to
there.
second
Look,
floor
you
here.
can see- Just put the curtain over a little bit. You can see the video games right there. It's the line of them.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Just like a little.
Yes, high score is new location at 307 West Hastings.
Look at that
on the
video
second
game
floor.
classics. And a small picture of a young person.
There's a line of them there. They got Miss Pac-Man. There's
Galaga.
Mario Brothers, Galaga, and Mr.
Pac-Pac.
Pac-Man, and
All the old favorites and a bunch of new ones too.
plus he's
Pinball.
got all those
Multi.
all those consoles of all the games. They got every game from whatever, all the systems.
Oh yeah, Atari, you name it.
NES,
From the beginning to the end, they're all.
So that's
there.
all here at
Sega,
Cannabis
he's even got
Culture.
Sega games, like you name it. If whatever your system is you like, he's probably got the game.
ColecoVision.
Although,
Intellivision.
I keep coming in and going, oh, you don't have this, you don't have that. And he's like, oh yeah, we don't. No. I keep finding games he can just stump them.
ColecoVision Smurfs he doesn't have, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
fine. He'll get it.
He doesn't have. He doesn't have Sega 16-bit Road Rash. And a lot of people a lot of guys know what that game is. I went in, I said, "You got this." We went, no, that's not it. That's not it. No, you don't have it, dude. No.
It's not even in that big ass one.
Nope.
Huh?
Nope, not yet. But he said he'd try. But
Because that thing has like 1 million platforms on it too.
yeah, it's got the platform, but it doesn't have the game. And I'm like amazed because it was such a popular game.
Probably
So many
copyrighted
people know
and
about it.
owned by someone. Owned by Johnny Karate or someone.
Possibly Wu-Tang Clan has.
The Wu-Tang Clan game, that's right, yeah. Fuck, that's good.
They got a cartoon now too, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just saw that. I was on Crave, and I was like, oh, yeah, look at this. It's a Wu-Tang thing. And then there's that other one. I didn't watch it, though. There's the cartoon president.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's a cartoon Trump president show.
Oh yeah, it looks like a ham sandwich or something.
Yeah, it's just...
Or that's normal, sorry.
Hard to tell from the real.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's I was going to say, sure it wasn't the real.
Maybe it wasn't a cartoon.
CNN.
It's a pretty dark comic.
But no, I didn't watch because it just looks stupid. I refuse to watch anything like that. But I saw it was out there. I was like, holy shit, the cartoon president. Well, I guess he is a cartoon.
Yeah. You'd easily make a show about him, probably. They're just like writing shit he normally does. They're like, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing today, boys? Well, let's see what he tweeted last night, and
Yeah.
we'll work from there.
Well, they just, SNL is pretty much making a living off of that guy right
Oh.
now.
He wakes
Yeah.
up pissed off at them every day.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wakes up and tweets about them first in the morning.
Yep.
When
And
he's
they're
wo-
just like, thank you, getting ready
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Saturday.
Finally, we're relevant again.
Yeah. Somebody's spitting his Egg McMuffin again,
Oh.
And that was the other one I thought was
Which world
hilarious.
leader is he going to sanction today?
Did you hear about the one where Eric Trump was at a restaurant and somebody spit at him or on him or something like this? And the best thing that I saw on Twitter about it was somebody was like, these people eat in public and he's worried about people spitting on him. I'd be more worried about people spitting in my food.
Yeah.
Like if I was Eric Trump, right? And I was like,
Getting that takeout, yeah.
But I'm thinking, yeah, these guys eat in public. Like how? Come on, yeah, come into my restaurant. I dare you. I got a special hamburger for you.
They're called the back
Free.
door, baby.
Yeah, no charge. Yeah, anyhow. But that's, yeah, I love Twitter. Twitter is awesome. It's just, there's so many witty people on there. It's hilarious. Like, there's some good, funny stuff.
We got to watch this other video.
Yeah, let's do that.
Done.
Vancouver spots to smoke pot. Just down here at Falls Creek, waiting on the water taxi. Because nothing says Vancouver like a water taxi. Welcome to Spots to Smoke Pot. Here we are down at Falls Creek, and we found Habitat Island. Let's check it out. So we're down here at Habitat Island. You can see the view behind me is absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful day to be out here in public. And that's right, I token public. Little breezy, but hey, keeps it from being too hot. Marijuana. So here on Habitat Island, what a great little spot to get away and find a place quiet to smoke. There is a ton of benches here, and you can actually get here. There's a walkway that starts over there at Science World, and you can just meander along. There's tons of interesting things to see, sculptures. Over here, there's a wildlife tree on Habitat Island full of bird houses. Nature all around me. You got the ferries, the water taxis, kayakers, and boats going by. Tons of great stuff to look at. This is a great spot to smoke pot here in Vancouver. Let me help you. There. Just hold that. That's some fine herb, brother. My compliments.
Fucking Mick took his joint and should have hugged him.
I took his joint. Yeah, it's like, well, you know, he was just like holding it and it was out.
Like the guy in Victoria there by the harbor, you gotta put your arm around him. I don't know what he is.
Yeah, that's the one there. There's one on the Calgary Street Mall, the businessman talking, that you can always put a cigarette or a joint in his hand too. He's
I gave a joint to Emily Murphy on one of the Freedom Tour trips.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's it for the show today.
Wrapped it up like a sandwich at a deli in New York.
We wrapped it up like a cupcake with balloons.
2 days before Cannabis Day.
2 days before Cannabis Day.
It's the Cannabis Day long weekend, and it just started today here.
It's going to be crazy in Vancouver.
Oh, it's going to be a zoo.
Jeremiah's birthday weekend.
Yeah, always a crazy weekend.
But
We're
just
going
wanna
hard.
Thank Neil for coming in and appreciate
having
you
me.
telling us what's been going on there. And
come visit us Sundays and Thursdays at noon at the Cannabis Substitution Project, 380 East Hastings at Vandu, and check out what we're doing down there. And if you want to contribute to our project, that would be awesome. We're putting out about 250 to 300 care packs to people every time that we go there, and that's only done because we have a bunch of people donating, and it really is reliant on that. So if you could help us, So we're still not quite meeting the demand, but we're doing a really good job of getting a lot of cannabinoids out into that community. So help us out at the Cannabis Substitution Project. Check us out on Facebook, and yeah.
And thank you, Neil, for making the magic happen at the board there. You got the massaging the
Tuning
electronic
in Tokyo
keyboard.
and whatnot.
Yeah. Mr. Cookie, good to see you as always, brother.
See you. Boom.
Anyhow, that's it. And as always,
Toast you wrote.
Cultivate your freedom.
Brought to you by SunWest Genetics.
Hi there. Welcome to the 420 Lifestyle Show. I'm Carly Marley. She's taking a dab. Thanks.
We can play the Sickamoose video.
Oh, yes, Sickamoose video. Let's play the Sickamoose video.
That's like all over the place, I guess.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he describes.
Oh, I'm rolling up the fattest joint I could possibly fit in this paper. Perfect. If it was any bigger, it would explode.
These are the care packs that we give out. Somewhere between 160 to 200 of these packs every time that we're here, twice a week.
And what's in the packs?
Gummy, candy there, a cap, a joint. We have these other caramel. Unfortunately, because of the city's clampdown on dispensaries and the transition to the non-medical legal government stores, there's people really struggling to find what they need out there. 180 people are going to line up here today in the rain for hours to get, a bag like that. There's a great need in this city that's not being met.
How many? 230 people. That is the biggest lineup we had so far this year.
Shame on our municipal government for not allowing the free access to medical dispensaries and edibles, which should be happening.
So say thank you, man. Really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.